the number one reason why businesses are not successful, we're not talking about Fortune 500 companies, we're talking about one-person companies, is that they're not clear about their business. They're not clear about every step of the business because they don't think on paper. Think on paper. The most powerful tool in the world is you, a pen, and a piece of paper. This is the greatest wealth creator in the world. And so you never pick up the phone. You never answer the phone without something to write down. You make notes all the time. Make notes. Now you can actually capture all your notes on your phone. But what I found is that if you write it down, it records into your brain, and your chances are you'll remember it. I found that if your goals are not in writing, and one of the things I taught, and I've taught more than 5 million people, is write your goals down on paper, and write them down in the present tense as though you had already achieved them. I earned X number of dollars in 2019. I am a self-made millionaire by January 1st, 2025. I weigh X number of pounds. I live in a 5,000 square foot house with a separate bedroom for each one of my children. In other words, write it down as though it were already a fact, and you're just reporting it. You're just reporting the fact. Your subconscious mind is marvelous, but what it does is it only thrives on goals that you pronounce in the now, in the present tense. And so you now have a dynamism. It's called I'll think of the word, but it's a dynamism in your brain where your brain knows that you're only earning this amount of money, but now you're saying, but I earn this amount of money. Your brain knows that you're not a millionaire, but now you're saying, I am a millionaire. And so your brain goes to work to close this gap between where you are and where you want to be. And your brain starts to work 24 hours a day. And it works and it gives you ideas. Each person here has what is called the superconscious mind. And this mind has been talked about for 5,000 years, and some call it the oversoul, and some people call it the God mind. Some people call it God, spirit, whatever it happens to be. But there's this incredible power in the universe that you can tap into. You could just reach into it by simply writing down a goal clearly on a piece of paper, and then this mind goes to work 24 hours a day to bring it into your life. You've all read the books about the law of attraction and so on. Well, the fact is that once you are clear on a goal and you write it down, not type it, but write it down, is you force this energy field of attraction, and it starts to pull into your life everything that you need to make the goal clear. But if it's not in writing, not a darn thing happens. And so I'm going to ask you, I sometimes ask people, say, please, 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 just do one thing for me, is write down your goals. After this seminar, follow the instructions. I will give you an instruction. And by the way, we made available my goal setting formula online for everybody here, so everybody can go online to LifeVantage and get it. Because it will save you 10 to 20 years of hard work. Your life will transform. It's almost like taking some magic elixir. Your whole life will be different. So anyway, what you do is, I said in life, every person has a turning point, and the turning point comes when you set upon a major goal. When you decide upon a major goal, and since you're going to be working for money in business all your life, you might as well set a goal to earn a lot of money. You see, in life, you can earn a lot or you can earn a little. And if you have a choice, I recommend to you that you choose a lot, okay? Because if you don't choose a lot, by default, you automatically get a little. And there's 80% of the population out there is wandering around and complaining about successful people, life's not fair, and so on. No, because once you are clear about your goal, you start to see all kinds of opportunities, things that you can do that you hadn't thought of doing, that move you faster toward the goal and move the goal toward you. You activate this field of magnetism and you start to attract into your life people and circumstances who help you to achieve the goal, and you help to achieve their goals. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. And it is true, and it has been true for thousands of years. So here are the 7 keys to setting and achieving goals. These 7 keys will make you rich. Key number 1 is to decide exactly what you want. Decide exactly what you want. And the great majority of people really don't know what they want. They want to be rich, but what does that mean? How much is that? When? How soon? What are you going to do to get it? So decide exactly what you want. If you're married, sit down with your spouse and decide exactly what you want. Two people working together, a husband and wife working together on a single goal, multiply the power behind achieving that goal more than anything else. It's called the great mastermind, is the husband and wife working together. Anyway, number one is decide exactly what you want. Einstein said that if you cannot tell your goal to a 6-year-old child and have the 6-year-old child explain it to another 6-year-old child and both of them understand it, then you don't know what your goal is yourself. So ask yourself, is your goal so clear that you could tell it to a 6-year-old child and the 6-year-old child would not only understand what the goal, but could tell you how close you are to it? Great test. It's a great test, the Einstein test. Number two is write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down. There's nothing more important than writing down your goals, because if it's not written down, it's merely a fantasy. Now, they've done a whole series of studies at Harvard and Yale and Cornell and so on about the difference between students who type their notes and students who write their notes. The students who write their notes all get straight A's. The students who type their notes forget everything before the end of the day, because writing forces you to use three abilities: your kinesthetic ability, your physical ability of writing, your audio ability, you see it when you're writing it, and your auditory ability, you say it to yourself when you're writing. So you activate the three major parts of your brain simultaneously, like a laser beam from a space station, zap, onto a piece of paper, and your subconscious mind accepts it as a command, and your superconscious mind starts to work on it 24 hours a day. Just write it down, write it down. And it's the most amazing darn thing. If all you did was write down one goal and leave this conference, your life will be different forever. And because all kinds of things will start to happen. And you'll say, well, that's a coincidence. I just wrote that goal down when I was in that meeting this afternoon, and then I got this phone call or something in the mail, or I saw something on TV, or something. It's just phenomenal. So step number one, decide what you want. Number two, write it down. Number three, set a deadline. Tell your subconscious when you want it. I want this by such and such a date. So every goal always ends with a use by date. In other words, I achieved this goal by this date. And you write it in the present tense. Number three is make a list. Number four, step number four, is make a list of everything that you can think of to do. Just make a list, and as you think of more things, add it to the list. Keep writing it down, and sometimes you think of something in the middle of the night, write it down, keep a pad of paper next to your bed, and quickly write it down so you don't forget it. Just write it down, That's number four, and this is really important. It's the great turning point, like a massive ship turning in the ocean. Your whole life starts to turn when you write down a list of the steps you're going to have to take. I don't recommend other people's books because I've written so many myself, and I summarize hundreds of books that I have read over the years, but there is one book that had a great influence on me, and it's called the Checklist Manifesto. Anybody read this book? The Checklist Manifesto. It was written by a doctor, an emergency ward doctor, and he talks about the value of checklists when you are trying to accomplish a goal, build a business, raise a child, whatever you want to do. He says, create a checklist. He said, everything in the world, this room, a car, swimming pool, everything follows a checklist. Everything requires a checklist to build it. And the wonderful thing about organizing a checklist before you begin work on a project, it has an extraordinary effect on your life. And what he does is he teaches in the most entertaining way how people who did not use checklists died, went bankrupt, the most successful people in finance in the world, how they use checklists in order to organize their financial life, business people. Anyway, it's the one book that I would recommend. It's a short book. It's just fascinating reading. It's called The Checklist Manifesto. Anyway, so take your list of goals and organize your list by priority. Make a checklist. What's number one? What's number two? What's number three? And so on. And as you get more information, change the list, reorganize it, write it, move things up and down. Step number six is to take action on your list. Take action on the most important thing on your list. Do something, launch. get going, do it now. Do it instant, do it immediately. Get up and do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be revising your papers. It can be making a phone call. It can be ordering a book. It could be something, but do something, which is sort of like the kickoff in a football game. Just kick the ball off as far as you can. And number 7, and this is going to make you rich, happy, popular, and thin. Number 7 is do something every day on your most important goal. Do something every day on your most important goal. So here's the exercise I'm going to give you to take home with you and do when you leave this. And by the way, from now on, whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise. If they will not go through this exercise, do not waste a minute of your time with them, because they will never be successful if they won't follow your guidance. And here's the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Don't worry about 2 years or 10 years or 5 years. Just 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months, and write them in the present tense. Almost like you're submitting an order. And just write down, I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own. Whatever it happens to be, and the goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. And then you take this list of 10, and you say, if I had a magic wand, and I could wave this magic wand, and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Which one goal? And go over it. And usually this will jump out at you. It'll jump out at you like a spider in a horror movie. It'll grab you. And put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. You'll all be rich. Nothing can stop you but yourself.